Welcome back to I guess the official Atari podcast. I don't really know what we're going to call this. It used to be the Recharge podcast. We're putting those on the Recharge streams, but it's going to become more of this general thing. And I'm still Jason Polanski, producer at Atari. And you'll notice that Adam's not here because we're not talking about Recharge. Instead, we're talking about Kombinera, and I'm joined by the team at Graphite. So we got Jacob Lear, we got Phil Snowbarger. I haven't actually pronounced your last name until this moment. Did I get it?
It was perfect. Yeah, you nailed it.
Okay, awesome. And we got Matt. Oh my God, I haven't pronounced your last name either.
Let's hear it. I'm going to judge this entire podcast based on this attempt. Ready, get set, and
Matt Raithel.
Yeah, it's close enough. Raithel. But I don't blame you for the Raithel. And to be honest, I don't pronounce Phil's last name either because I'm terrified that I'll mess it up still.
I nailed it, and it's a dope last name, so it's very cool. But really, it's Graphite Lab and Joystick. I think that's the collaboration here. So maybe before we start getting into some of this gameplay here, got the stream going. So this will be on audio feeds, and if you are listening to this on audio feeds, I would encourage you to go to the YouTube page so you can actually see the video. We got some gameplay here in the background. I'm going to be playing it, so don't judge me too harshly. Or judge me very harshly. I don't care. I'll take any sort of feedback we can get, positive, negative, whatever. But while I'm just getting started, before we get started, why don't we just jump in and tell me a little bit of how this partnership between Graphite and Joystick and how the game basically came to conception. And if the dog wants to chime in, that's cool too.
I didn't know if you guys could hear him or not.
It's all good.
Yeah, so I guess I can kind of get started on that story. So it was about a little over a year ago now. I was messing around with some game stuff, and Jacob was too, and was starting to get into learning some Unity. We'd always talked about making games in the past, and it was something that we'd always had interest in, but something that we never really executed on. And so we finally got to the point where I'd been working at Graphite Lab for a couple years, and so I had a little more confidence and skill related in that area. And so I got Jacob to start doing some learning for C# and Unity tutorials and stuff like that. So Jacob actually found out about the Brackeys game jam and sent me a message on Discord and was like, hey, you want to do this? We could just use it as a good learning experience, because I think it'll help me, get into learning more rather than just following tutorials if we do a project of our own. And, I was like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I think it would be a great thing to do something ourselves rather than just follow instructions from someone else. So it all just started out as a big learning experience, basically. And so we got the theme and everything stronger together. It's how we came up with the main mechanic for the game, which is combining the players and gaining abilities, all that sort of thing. And yeah, in the time span of a week, we built out the prototype for the game. So
it was awesome. And then at what point, I want to know the timeline, because I was given the build at some point in the late summer, I think it was. That's when Matt sent it over. So Matt, we worked together prior on Roller Coaster Tycoon Story, which was a mobile puzzle game. And so we had the prior relationship. And I know you were sending the game to other publishers as well, as you were pretty clear about, which is cool. So we're obviously in that process. And I remember you sent it to me, and when I finally got the chance to play it, I immediately turned to Mark, who's not on this, but he was the lead producer on the title, and I immediately just turned to him. I'm like, Mark, you got to play this game. You got to play it. You got to play it, and it was awesome. So what happened between the game jam and that moment where you decided to start sending it out and look for publishing?
Sure. So I played it pretty quickly after the game jam. Phil and put it into our company Slack, and I downloaded it and checked it out. And I appreciated kind of the simplicity of the mechanics and how easily they kind of extend themselves into different ways to play. And that's something that we always look for, is all right, let's have some really nice and understood mechanics. And then ones that can be kind of evolved in lots of different ways. So I immediately liked it, but we were busy doing other things, right? I mean, our Graphite as a team does work for hire contracts for tons of different partners, and as you said, includes Atari and some work that we've done together. So quite frankly, we were just very busy doing other things. But as I reflected on that game more and more, I was like, man, there's really something there. And we did shop it around. We did, introduce it to a lot of our partners, but there's something just kind of about the game that just feels very like Atari-like. It is that kind of like very understandable core mechanic that can be extended into lots of different ways that, I think harkens back to like the early arcade era and early console era, where you could just pick up and play something, but then have lots of replayability. So, it was no secret that I really felt like this had Atari DNA in the concept. And so that's why we, kind of shared it with you. And of course you shared it with Mark, and, that ball kept rolling. So, but it was a couple of months where I just kind of sat on it, and then, I was like, we should really share this and see if we can get this moving.
Well, was there any like stewing process on, Jacob or Phil? Did you guys have any other kind of thoughts? Were any of those thoughts stewing on things that you could do with the game before that point, like within that time period?
I mean, like, I think where we kind of first set out was we wanted to kind of bring the game to its full final product, right? Like the full experience. So we were like, before we'd even like really showed it around, or like, are we going to try to, self-publish this at some point, maybe throw up on Steam ourselves, or see what we could do. And then that's kind of when the, conversation with, Matt happened. And then from there, you guys, so like the goal was always to bring it, to market. It just very, this is a very different way than what we thought we were even able to do. So, it's just been super cool in that way.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's jump in. Let's hit the play button here, and I'll turn on some of I had to reduce the music volume a little bit because I realized, everybody's gonna hear that in the background, and that might drive them crazy. Even though the soundtrack is great and is available with the game as well on Steam. So just put that at 3% here. All right, let's jump in. Let's start off here. We'll just start right from the beginning here. Level 1, fresh slate. Get a little bit of story here. Does anybody want to narrate this?
I think Jacob should totally narrate this. Or not.
Deep in the bowels of space.
You gotta narrate for our audio listeners.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there was a king in space, and then he was attacked by, what did I call it? The evil space triangles?
Yep.
Yeah, the evil space triangles. They come in, they disrupt his good time. He's just chilling. And then all of a sudden they're forming this ring. They are upset. I don't know what they're upset about, but they are mad. And now this King Circle, being King Combine, as we call it,
there you go,
is now in many, many various pieces. Now we got to put them all together. So we're jumping into Chapter 1. Long division.
It's just your classic Humpty Dumpty story.
Yeah. I've seen it once. A tale as old as time. Here we go.
Right.
So the way the mechanics go, this is your first time seeing the game and how it works, and it wasn't clear with the trailer. You basically move anytime I'm moving. You're moving, the ball's moving simultaneously with you, and the whole purpose of the game is to combine the balls. So we got our big tip here. This is one of the additions we had later on when with some of these almost like which like very brutal puzzles. Was there before at one point there was only the ability to jump up very high, and you could have like these precision jumping where you could do that yourself. But then one of the things we decided to do was to add in that single square jump ability, which, oh my god, if you want to play the game in hard mode, just ignore that exists, and you could see what it was like back in the day.
The short hop definitely brings in some easiness to it.
Yeah. And then of course there's the once you get to this point, now we start bringing in some colored balls here, so the red ball can safely navigate spikes. Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about some of those obstacles? How'd you come up with the different obstacles in the game?
Well, we started with spikes. I mean, that was like the kind of classic, like, this is a physical barrier, that you have to somehow get around or have someone who's immune to it, right? I think it just kind of went really easily along with like kind of demonstrating some balls are immune to something and some are not. So that's kind of how spikes go. I see you just collected your first crown.
Yeah. Why don't you talk about the crowns for a second?
Yeah, there are collectibles in the game, and you gotta they present a little bit of a different way to play each level, a little bit harder. You have to kind of think a little differently than normal.
I'm trying to get this crown. This one.
Yeah, I think the crowns are really interesting because depending on the level, it can entirely change your approach, right? Like there are some levels where you are solving it in a completely different way. And so it's kind of like, just an extra added layer that basically can like double up the experience on some levels. So I think it's something that's really interesting to do. It could be a little tougher if you go for all of them on like your first playthrough, but definitely it's fun to like go back, once we added those in, and like you see all these levels that you've played before, and then you're like, okay, well, like I know how to solve this, but how do I solve it and get the crown now? It's a really interesting way to go about doing things.
Yeah. This one, I don't know. Yeah, so this is where the just kind of looked like I spazzed out for a minute there. That was but trying to figure out how to get that one, I just basically gave up. I threw in the towel here. Yeah. That's very cool. Let's talk about the music for a second, because we always have the soundtrack. Who did the music in the game?
I did the music, so that was a fun experience for me. So it's actually way different from the original version of the game. It was much more heavy and intense in the Game Jam edition. It was pretty short loop. You don't have a ton of time to sort of feel out the sound. It was just like I found like a melody and like some sounds that I thought were cool and just kind of went with it for the Game Jam, but had a little more time to develop and sort of create a sound that sort of meshed a little better with the atmosphere. And as well, it's not the easiest game in the world. So
no,
the audio is meant to be a little bit more on the chill side of things, just to keep people from getting too angry at any given point in time. So
keep people from combining their controller with the wall.
Right.
Which has happened.
Yeah? Who did it? Was it you, Matt?
Not me.
No?
Not
gonna name names here.
Yeah, not today.
Yeah. What so what tips would you give somebody as they play this game so they don't throw their controller against a wall in a fury?
I mean, like the biggest thing is if it, especially in like the early levels, like if it doesn't, like if you're feeling like you're having to like what called like cheese the level, you may not be doing it right. I think stubbornness is something really, really important to get over and to just explore different ways of addressing a problem, because that's what they are. They're puzzles. They're something to figure out.
Yeah.
I would say like don't worry about dying and retrying. I think that's an essential part of the process, is like experimenting. Like things are pretty low stakes, especially in those first couple chapters where the levels haven't gotten super huge yet, where it's okay, it's not going to take you that much time to start over from square one, but some levels will take a while for you to actually figure out and beat, but
yeah. So actually, this level that I'm showing right now, this is a great example of I think it's a good point for some inside baseball, right? Because this was one of the first levels so this is level 18. And sorry for the audio listeners, but I just have to but check out the video and then you'll see what I'm talking about here. This level was very different in its original composition. And this level is actually the reason why the single jump came to existence, because you basically have three balls. You got one at the bottom, and you got one on the right, and then you got one at the top, and you have to kind of find a way to combine the one on the right and the one on the top, the red one on the top, and then the white one on the top, and then the problem is anytime you jump, you got to maneuver this white ball at the bottom. But if you go to, but if you jump high, every time you move it, if you do a full jump, then this guy on the top is going to jump off and die like that. And doing that precision, like you can do it. Like I said, if you wanted to do this in hard mode, you can do it. It's difficult, but it's certainly possible. But that's why it was important to get, I'm going to lose this level anyway, but it was important to have that single jump in there, because while, it made it very easy, there was still a solution to the puzzle you have to work out. And it just made it just reduced some certain frustrations in getting so that you weren't necessarily wrestling with the controls, but you were trying to wrestle with the solution of the puzzle more so than anything else. Would you consider that a fair explanation of the reasoning?
I mean, the goal of the game isn't to make it to where you have to really precisely click the jump button in order to get the right height. Like, that's not the goal of the game. So it was like something we were just at first we were hesitant on something like that, like adding a short hop, because we were afraid it'd make the game feel weird just to have like a dedicated button that to jump in a different way. But I think it ended up feeling really great. And it's like, I don't know how to play the game without the short hop now, because it's just like part of how I play it. So it was useful, super useful, to kind of add that in. And it's also, it's kind of fun because that was an Atari suggestion, right? So that was, kind of where you guys kind of tagged in. It's like maybe like a dedicated button, and it was like, I think it really helped the game.
Yeah, it's definitely alleviated certain frustration. And there's actually so this game is going to be on literally everything, right? And I finally got that crown. I'm pretty excited about that. So just very nonchalant, whatever.
Well done.
The game is going to be on literally everything, and there was a pretty novel way that you introduced the jumping mechanic, because it's on mobile as well. You could play it on your on Android or iOS, and the way that you did the multiple controls so that it wouldn't have, you minimize the number of virtual controls on screen at one point. So having that swipe gesture for one of the pops versus a tap for the other was quite novel. I did very much appreciated that. That was an instant fail. I forgot how to do this one.
Yeah, those controls. This is like that discussion is I think an important one for this game, because it really pulled in from Graphite's experience, Phil and Jacob's interest in kind of making a minimalist game, as well as kind of Atari's consult of having all these different platforms. But making sure that the controls were tuned for each place that you're playing was important to me. But Graphite's background was stretched across all those platforms. So we've got mobile experience. We've been on consoles prior. But one of the things that I wanted out of this opportunity was a showcase of what's possible from our team, is to go, literally on just about every platform you can think of, from the PS5 through the VCS to, the iOS devices. And it plays beautifully on all of them, which is something I'm really proud of.
I was just about to say, I'm on level 20, and I actually consider this to be like one of the first hard ones, and then I just happened to do this on my first try. I've done this almost so many times, and it's always the one that trips me out the most. Here was also one of the things that we added. This actually wasn't originally part of the scope, but we also added some cutscenes in the game to add these little light story elements. So by adding that and the secret levels, like those are some of the things that we added. Otherwise, this thing would have been out a month ago. So, but I really do like the, So now we're in chapter 2, entrance denied, and this is where things get really hairy.
What would you?
Yeah, go ahead. No, go for it.
The real question is, are you going to attack one of those secret levels while you're being watched by other people?
I will answer that question right after a word from our sponsors.
We knew they were coming. Futuristic computer minds, advanced intelligence, an electronic language of lights and sounds. But there's one thing we didn't know. How much fun they are. Touch Me. 3 different games in one, where your family challenges each other and an unpredictable computer. Touch Me. Fun and action for the whole family, or just for one. Touch Me. The pocket-sized computer game from Atari. What will they think of next?
Yeah, I can... I think I'm willing to undertake one of those and put myself in imminent danger. That sounds like something I could do. That first level, I'll just be honest, I've only completed one of the secret levels, and that's this like first one with the precision platforming in there, because that's the kind of stuff that I really like. And we could just do a few more of these, and then I could jump into that, because that could honestly fill the rest of the recording. So, sure. But I got to ask this question: what would you guys consider? And you all get a chance to answer, because I kind of already answered it myself by saying level 20. What would you consider to be the first hard puzzle in the game?
Well, from what I've seen, just watching other people play, I think it was level 17. You are faced with like this way of moving where you have to kind of realign the balls in different ways. At first they're kind of slanted off from each other, and then you have to move forward, get past spikes with that alignment, and then actually align them centered again. Yeah. And then move past the next set of spikes, and then you go to another like a pit where you have to then use that to align where you're not like actually in a straight line but diagonal from each other. I watch people over and over again like not think to use the wall that's kind of jutting out from the ceiling to like align and center off again. And that was something like to use the environment to change the way your balls are aligned. I think it was something that once they got it changed the way they played fundamentally. But to get there, people just wanted to challenge the system. They're like, no, I can beat this my way. No alignment ever.
Yeah. Well, that's what's lovely about the game is it takes those classic platforming mechanics that everybody feels comfortable with, and then it forces them to kind of reconsider them for the purpose of the game, which is really cool. Level 18 was kind of my first one that kind of peaked. I think it was in a different flow earlier when I played it, but that's still my favorite one. I don't know why, but I enjoy that one, especially with the short hops. I'm a fan of the short hop. It keeps those mechanics focused on problem solving and less about like, oh, I accidentally, leaned on the key too hard, or goodness, touch controls. There's a lot of, precision there that is not as easily captured in touch. So, short hops is good. Phil, what's your difficult level?
I mean, I'd probably agree with Jacob just from, the people that we've watched play. Sure. I think that's normally like the first like struggle that people really go through. Like there's some time where like, every level there's a little bit of thinking that's going on, but on that one it like really changes. And it's like one of the things that's unique to this game, more so than it is in other games, where like the environment is like a really big focus, and you have to think about how can you utilize that to help you progress forward. Like not all of the platforms and everything are arbitrary, right? Everything is strategically placed in a way that benefits you, aside from spikes and stuff like that, which are meant to actively,
they don't benefit you. Spikes don't. They don't benefit you very much. The green lasers of doom. They don't benefit you. They're just trying to say.
But any piece of the non-lethal platforms are they're significant, and figuring out how to solve the thing. So
I gotta jump in here. This level that Jason's playing right now, this is my touch control evaluator. That level is so kind of precise and tight, and you need like some quick movements and some short movements, some short hops, some long hops. You got to drop precisely. So when you think about touch controls, like that's the level. You got to watch the video and check it out.
That's true. I'll just go back to it so you can see that one, because really what you have to do, it's one of the ones that relies on some serious precision. I think that's where the grid lines are a phenomenal addition to the game. Like that makes everything so much clearer, so you know exactly what you can and cannot do and where you can go, and really helps frame, because the ball fits perfectly in one of those squares. So it's a really cool system. But there's multiple instances. So you get to use the single hop there. Then you got to use the double hop to get up here. And then you got to watch the video for context on this. And then the real kicker that you're talking about is that I got to make this jump to break through these yellow ones, and it's got to go right between these red spikes. And that's really the moment of precision here. So I did it right before. And there you go. I am using an Xbox controller for this, so that's making my life easier. And and I'm not going to play through this level because we're, I'm gonna spend the next 30 minutes of this thing just trying to play through one of the secret levels. But this one is also the dramatic difference between the last level between 36 and 37, and showing how different levels of size, you really ramp up the complexity is very cool and commendable in the game. And the fact that there's like 300 puzzles in this thing, and this is only showcasing 2 color varieties, and then you'll get into levels this size that have like 5 different color varieties and different obstacles, and it really makes you think. So yeah, I was able to blow through 37 levels in a span of, what do we have, the recording, 25 minutes. Well, that's this is the easy part, and this is when we said, yeah, a hard level comes at about 18. So there's some very cool stuff here. I'll also say that one of my tips that I would give to people, because there's 2 things that I would point out. One is that for each of these levels, we have there's a par time. So by contextualizing what the best way to beat the level is in that kind of time, you may be able to check yourself in overthinking a process. If you're doing something that feels too tedious, it probably is for the task at hand. And then the other thing, which is huge, which is talking about that environment design. Everything is there for a reason in every level. So if you're ever truly stuck and you're not taking advantage of something in the level, ask yourself the question, why is this here? And then you'll probably get to a solution quicker. So let's go to, so we got at the end here, the crowns, so here we go. There's, I guess I should just try I only got 2 here. I thought I had more. But
boy, secret level, here they come.
All right. Yep, this is the one. This is I really like this level. So this is the first secret level, and this is my type of challenge because it doesn't make me think. It's purely about precision platforming. I got the guy on the left, he is completely stuck, and then I got the guy in the middle, and that's the only thing I need to worry about is navigating these spikes. I think the first time I completed this level, it took me 98 tries and I got 1 completion for 98 attempts. So here we go.
Nice.
All right, there's 1.
Yeah, and the secret levels are cool because it is that focus on precision platforming, right? It's something like if you need a break from all the puzzle solving, right, and you've gone through and you've gotten these crowns, it's like you can switch up kind of the gameplay experience by focusing on these really tough challenges. So I think it's a really neat change of pace for people who are looking for something different.
Yeah. So it's getting from so tell me if I'm doing this right, because my main goal was to get into the middle prong of these and then jumping over to that middle level. And I was able to do it once before. I'm just burning through my my chances here. And it will tell you in the menu how many chances you took to how many tries you took to get through any given level. And these are hidden for a reason. There's a reason why this isn't on the main path.
Yeah, I think you can get it from either the middle one or the bottom one. It's just different kind of jumps, like how high. I think a short hop gets you there on the middle one, and then the bottom one you have to do maybe a little bit more than a short hop.
Almost had it.
That was a close one.
But it's also super tight. Like it may not look it, but the controls are really tight. Like you just stop dead. So you don't have that momentum. You're not on glass. You will, when you stop moving the stick, you're dead. You just stop moving explicitly. So it just feels like great for this kind of precision platform. All right, here we go. So is this a single hop situation or double? Or how about no hop? How about just running right into the spikes?
Death.
Yeah, on that one I just go full send and just try and time it right with the small hop.
Well, before I try to make this jump again, fun. I'm gonna bring up. I got a question here. I asked for questions. I didn't get many. Granted, I asked very late, so that's more on me than anybody else asking. But here's a fun one from Davpa on Discord. He wrote. He said it was a total joke question, but I thought it was great. a complex puzzle game. Why do you hate people so much, and when did that start for you? Supervillain origin story. Anybody can answer that?
That's a good question for Jacob,
Yeah,
since
Jacob.
he's the mastermind behind most of the puzzles.
Well, I mean, thinking is fun. I've always been drawn to kind of puzzles and logic. And my hatred for humanity, I mean, that started young. I mean, really young. I think, in my antisocial tendencies and just desire to, ruin people real young. I don't know, Phil, any desires to just hurt people emotionally?
Yeah, I think a lot of my focus was on making the experience a little less painful for everyone.
Yeah. Speaking of painful, just watch this video stream and you will see pain.
Well, it's
But yeah,
it's
I mean,
the
that's you mentioned like the way that the controls work and how tight they are, and that's part of the reason why, right? We didn't want people like struggling with, how do I, conserve my momentum, or like I need to stop a little bit before the spike because whenever I stop, I'll slide into it or something like that. Like it's meant to feel very like you're in control. It shouldn't feel like the game or the controls are what's killing you, but it's like your mastery and your ability.
And that's like
Oh.
matches up with like our grid lines, right? You can like even count out the spaces. You get to kind of like really determine how, like managing you are. Just go to the right, hit the spikes.
If you notice, Phil just said it's your mastery and your ability that gets you to the end, and Jason just instantly finished that puzzle.
He was like, "Oh yeah, it is my mastery and ability."
Yeah, right.
That's
He's like,
right.
well, since you put it that way, I'm going to go ahead and finish this one.
Only took 58 deaths. I thought it was way more than that. Felt like way more than that. Cool. Well, we got through that. Let me see what 2 looks like. And
2 is where I tap out.
Now look.
I'm
This
2.
one,
This
one's
no.
a good one.
No, thank you.
Serious.
This one brings in a different skill that you haven't messed with yet.
Is the skill inner peace?
yeah.
Yeah, you haven't mastered that yet.
Cheat codes.
Oh my god, what? This is rude. I don't even understand.
That's what I'm saying.
Ow.
So I designed this level with a really particular concept in mind of how you move. And once you figure it out, then the whole level you can get going.
Give me a tip. Help me out here. Give an olive branch, because it's just one of the levels, right? Surely we could reward people who watched all this.
Well,
Or
if
listened.
you notice, you're on the bottom one. There's like a step you need to hit, and you'll hit that middle step sooner than your top ball will hit the ground. So maybe when ball's in the air and the other one's not, you can jump again still. The ball in the air will keep going down.
Oh. Okay.
You
So
gotta
here we
hit
go.
it just right.
Aha!
Otherwise, you'll stop too short and just die on the spikes on top.
There's a right spot to hit it. Oh, there it is.
Ooh. Close.
Breathe,
call.
Jason, breathe.
All right. Now I need to not die. Here we go. Oh, okay.
Ooh.
But now I'm like determined to do this level in 58 deaths or less. All
I like
right.
this one because you can die immediately so many times in a row.
Yeah, they'll.
Oh, that's why you
pile up
like it.
really fast.
This one, that was like the easiest jump in the game, I think, so far. What? Oh, not cool, man. Not cool. Yeah, villain origin story definitely in the making here for somebody somewhere. So if you're responsible for the next Joker, Jacob, I don't know what to tell you. I just it's probably not a good thing. Okay, cool.
Gotta have one.
Oh, damn, right. Okay.
Ooh.
I thought too much about that. I was basically there. All right, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah,
I'm
the-
gonna do
the
this thing.
funny
I'm
thing
not
about-
quitting until this thing will
This
go
level-
all day.
This level used to have spikes on the wall, at the very right wall, at the end too. So
That's
like
mean.
once you like did all the really hard stuff, you also had to like do this little like jump where you would push yourself into the wall over and over, so that you didn't die just running into the wall. but we decided to take that out because it was a little too much, especially after you've gone through the gauntlet of jumping through everything.
Yeah,
It was cruel.
yeah. Well, some of these deaths are just comical at this point. I'm gonna ask the next question. This is the last one, and you can be vague, right? Because we don't have anything to announce, but I'll ask this anyway. Because at this point, I could probably answer these. So it's the name was just Yen at Mystery Man with a 4 instead of an A on Twitter. He said, "Will this game have post-launch content? And if they can say something about their next project?" Well, post-launch content at this point, nothing to announce. I mean, if there's a lot of demand and people want it, if we sell 1 million copies, how about this? If we sell 1 million copies of this game, we'll do some post-launch content for you, Yen. And if as far as the next project, nothing to announce at this point. But let me say this won't be the last time you see this kind of recording for a different kind of title that is currently in production. And I think if you like what you see here, you will like what you see next from these guys coming soon. How's that for a teaser?
Great. I like it.
Awesome.
I
Good
like
stuff.
it.
All right, let's see if I can. I know Matt has to run away.
Yeah.
We did a lot of time in doing this setup, so we'll just wrap this up. I mean, thanks guys for taking the time. Thanks for this. All the work on this game. It's awesome. I love it. I play a lot of it on my Switch. It really looks awesome on the OLED, by the way. You can get the game you get Kombinera on April 7th for literally everything. You got iOS, Android, we already talked about that. I'm playing it on PC on Steam. You could also get it via Epic Game Store. You get it on Switch, Xbox One, Series X and S, PS4, PS5, and the Atari VCS, which will also have some exclusive levels as well. April 7th, check it out, download it, love it. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Matt. Anything you want to, where do they find you? You guys want to plug yourselves a little bit? Throw out Twitter handles. Find you on LinkedIn, whatever you want, go for it. We'll go clockwise order. Actually, reverse clockwise because Matt's got to run. Matt, what you got?
That's right. Find Graphite at graphitelab.com and at Graphite Lab everywhere else. You can follow Kombinera Game on Twitter and Instagram and every other place. And if you follow either of those two, you can probably find my stuff as well.
Cool. Phil.
Yeah, I mean, basically what Matt said, I don't do a lot of personal social media stuff, but you can search for Joystick Games as well, and we'll have accounts up and running soon.
We already have a LinkedIn account up right now, Joystick, so you can find on my profile, Jacob Lear, pretty easy. So that's what I got.
Cool. And you can follow me on at Jays of Doom on Twitter. So for anything else, we'll be coming out with these podcasts more often. Got a bunch more stuff to announce. Got a lot of stuff coming out over the next few months at Atari. A lot of cool stuff going on. So until next time, thanks for listening. Thanks, everybody. Go play Kombinera.